It finally happened, and almost nobody noticed while it was happening behind the scenes of everyday life in America after more than 2 centuries of history. The smallest coin in American pockets has reached a moment that collectors have been whispering about for years. The quiet shift began when the United States Mint started facing the harsh truth that producing the United States 1-cent coin was costing more than the coin itself was worth. And by late 2025, the shockwave began, spreading through the world of coin collectors and everyday Americans alike for 233 years. The humble penny survived wars, economic crashes, political battles, and massive changes in technology. The face of Abraham Lincoln has stared back from this tiny copper-colored coin since 1909, making it one of the most recognizable coins ever created in the United States. But now, a dramatic shift is unfolding, and the news is sending serious collectors into a frenzy. Millions of people are dumping jars of pennies at banks and coin machines, thinking they are worthless change. Something very different is happening in the collector world. Quietly and quickly, experienced collectors are searching through piles of pennies looking for a very specific group of coins that could soon explode in value. And here is where the story becomes truly shocking. Hidden among billions of ordinary pennies are 3 special coins from one unforgettable year that collectors believe could become some of the most talked about modern pennies ever produced. Those coins come from the historic year 2009. Why is that year so powerful? Because 2009 marked the 200th birthday of Abraham Lincoln and the 100th anniversary of the famous Lincoln cent design first introduced in 1909. To celebrate this historic moment, the United States Mint released a special 4-coin series telling the life story of Lincoln. Listen carefully, because what you are about to hear can completely change the way you look at a simple 1-cent coin forever. Most people walk past it, drop it on the ground, or leave it forgotten in a jar. But the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial Penny is not just pocket change, it is a living piece of American history, a silent witness to the birth of Abraham Lincoln, one of the most powerful figures to ever shape the United States. And hidden inside these pennies are rare varieties, minting secrets, collector mistakes, and overlooked treasures that could be worth far more than face value. Some of them are still out there right now, sitting in drawers, wallets, old piggy banks, and rolls of pennies that nobody bothered to check. And that is exactly why this story matters, because the biggest finds are always made by the people who know what to look for, while everyone else is sleeping on the opportunity. The year 2009 was not a normal year for the U.S. Mint. This was a once-in-a-lifetime event, the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. And instead of releasing just one design, the Mint shocked the coin world by releasing 4 different reverse designs, each one telling a chapter of Lincoln life, from his humble beginnings in a log cabin to his rise as a leader shaping a nation. And this decision created chaos, excitement, and opportunity at the same time. Collectors rushed in, casual people ignored it, and rare errors slipped through the cracks. And today, those cracks are where the real money hides. The log cabin design, representing Lincoln's birth and early childhood, is more than art. It is a symbol of American struggle, and when this design appears with the right mint mark, the right strike, the right metal quality, or the right error, it can become something collectors fight over the formative years. Design showing young Lincoln reading by firelight speaks directly to the dreamers and knowledge seekers. And some versions of this coin carry doubling weak strikes off, center impressions, and die clashes that send values soaring. The professional life design, showing Lincoln as a young lawyer in Illinois, is one of the most searched by collectors, because this design has produced some of the most dramatic mint errors. And then there is the presidency design, bold, powerful, and historic. And yes, this design too has rare examples that sell for serious money, especially in high-grade, uncirculated condition or with documented mint mistakes. And here's the part most people never tell you: not all 2009 pennies are the same, even when they look identical to the untrained eye. Some were struck in Philadelphia, some in Denver, some in San Francisco, and some in special collector sets. The metal composition, the strike, pressure, the die condition, and even the speed of production all played a role in creating rare varieties and errors. And when the economy was struggling in 2009, the Mint increased production speed, which is exactly when mistakes happen. That collectors love, because mistakes equal rarity, and rarity equals value. and right now there are people who unknowingly spent coins that could be worth tens, hundreds, or even thousands of dollars just because they did not know what they had. And that is why this video exists, to open your eyes to what is possible and to teach you how to spot a treasure hiding in plain sight. Imagine pulling a penny from your pocket and realizing it is not just copper-plated zinc, but a historical artifact with a story, a mistake, a rarity, something that collectors would pay real money for. Imagine the thrill of finding a doubled die, where Lincoln face shows extra thickness, or the letters on the coin appear to be shadowed. Imagine finding an off-center strike where part of the design is missing yet perfectly visible. Imagine discovering a broad strike where the coin expanded beyond its normal size, or a clipped planchette that proves the coin was born flawed, and flaws in the coin world are often priceless. And the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial Series is one of the richest. Modern hunting grounds for these errors because of the massive production numbers mixed with high-speed minting and limited public awareness. And here is another secret. Many people believe modern pennies are worthless, but that belief is exactly what keeps rare coins circulating unnoticed. The biggest money is often made when nobody is paying attention, and in 2009, most people were focused on survival, not coin collecting, which allowed rare pennies to slip into circulation unprotected and untouched. And some of those coins are still waiting to be found today, and the collectors who understand grading know that a 2009 penny in pristine mint state condition, with sharp details, clean surfaces, and full luster, can command impressive prices, especially when certified by top grading services. And when you combine high grade with low population numbers, the value multiplies fast. And this is not hype, this is documented. Auction history, real sales, real collectors, real money, and the best part is, you do not need to be rich to start. All you need is knowledge, patience, and the willingness to look closer than everyone else. Because every legendary coin discovery starts with someone who decided to stop and check. And as this video continues, we are going to break down each 2009 bicentennial design one by one. We will talk about mint marks, errors, rare varieties, grading secrets, circulation finds, roll hunting strategies, and real-world values that collectors are paying right now. And by the end of this journey, you will never look at a penny the same way again. EOM, not joking. This is not clickbait. This is not a fairy tale. This is real American history, real money, real value, and real hidden treasure sitting in plain sight. Because today, we are talking about one of the most misunderstood, most hunted, and most talked about modern U.S. coins ever made, the 2009 1 cent Lincoln Bicentennial Penny, a coin that millions of people have already spent, lost, ignored, or thrown into jars without realizing what they had in their hands. This penny was created to honor 200 years since the birth of Abraham Lincoln, and for the first time in over 50 years, the United States Mint completely changed the design of the penny, not just once, but 4 different times in a single year. And that alone already makes 2009 one of the most important years in Lincoln cent history. But that is just the surface, because collectors, dealers, and serious hunters know that inside these coins are rare varieties, low mintage surprises, era coins, doubled dies, satin finish issues, and condition rarities that can turn a simple 1 cent coin into a piece worth tens, hundreds, and in special cases, even thousands of dollars. And the wild part is that many of these coins are still out there right now in circulation. Rolls, old jars, bank boxes, and forgotten collections waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. And if you are watching this video right now, you are already ahead of most people. Because knowledge is everything in coin collecting. And by the end of this video, you will never look at a penny the same way again. The year 2009 was chaos for the U.S. Mint. Because of the economic recession, demand for pennies dropped dramatically. Mintages were cut, production schedules changed, quality control suffered, and when that happens, magic happens for collectors. Because low demand plus rushed production equals rare errors, varieties, and anomalies, and the Lincoln Bicentennial pennies came in for historic reverse designs, representing a chapter in Lincoln's life, the birth and early childhood in Kentucky, the formative years in Indiana, the professional life in Illinois, and finally, the presidency in Washington, D.C., and each design was struck at different mints in different quantities under different conditions, which means each one has its own rarity story. its own value range, and its own list of known errors, and some of these errors are so subtle that most people miss them, while others are so dramatic that once you see them, you cannot unsee them. Things like doubled lettering, extra fingers, missing details, die cracks, die chips off center strikes, weak strikes, rotated dies, and satin. Finished coins that were never meant for circulation but somehow escaped into the wild, and if you think a penny cannot be valuable because it is modern, then you are already making the biggest mistake in numismatics, because value is not about age alone, it is about rarity, demand, condition, and story. And the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial Penny has all four in one place, and this is why serious collectors call it one of the most important modern cent series ever released. And this video is not just about numbers or prices, it is about training your eyes to see what others miss, turning pocket change into opportunity, and understanding why certain 2009 pennies sell for face value, while others sell for life-changing money. And we are going to break down every single design, every mint mark, every key variety, and every known valuable error step by step, slow and clear, so even beginners can follow along and experts will still learn something new. So do not blink, do not skip, and do not underestimate what you might already own, because the next penny you touch could be the one that changes everything. No. Let us slow it down and really understand what makes the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial pennies dangerous in a good way for collectors, because the first design, birth and early childhood in Kentucky, shows a simple log cabin, and to most people it looks boring, plain, and common, but this is where many people get trapped, because rarity often hides behind simple designs. This coin was struck at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and each mint tells a different story. The Philadelphia Mint struck the highest numbers, but even then the mintage was far lower than normal penny years because the recession crushed demand and banks were not ordering coins like before, and that alone reduced survival rates in high-grade condition. And condition is everything, because a 2009 penny in worn shape is nothing special, but in mint state especially MS67, MS68, and above it becomes a completely different animal. Collectors fight over these coins in top grade because so many were poorly struck, weakly detailed, or mishandled before leaving the mint. And when you combine that with errors, things get crazy. Doubled dies on the lettering of United States of America, extra thickness in the log cabin lines, ghosting on Lincoln's portrait, die chips that look like extra wood cracks running through the roof of the cabin, and grease-filled dies that remove details, completely creating missing letters that collectors pay strong money for. And then you move to the Denver Mint version, and this is where things get even more interesting, because Denver had even lower mintages and worse quality control, meaning more errors but fewer survivors in high grade, which creates pressure on the market, because collectors building full mint sets need clean examples, and when supply is tight, prices move fast. And some Denver birth and early childhood pennies with strong luster and clean fields have already crossed the $100 mark in graded holders. And then there is San Francisco, which is a whole different world, because San Francisco struck these coins in satin finish for collectors only. These were never meant to circulate. They have a smooth, soft texture, sharp details, and a look that instantly stands out once you know what to look for, but many people do not, and that is why satin finish pennies have been accidentally spent, mixed into circulation, or broken out of mint sets and lost over time. And when you find a true satin finished 2009 penny in top condition, you are holding a sleeper coin that collectors aggressively hunt, and prices keep climbing because the mint stopped satin finish coins after 2010, making this series historically unique. And now let us shift to the second design. Formative years in Indiana, showing young Lincoln sitting on a log reading a book, and this design exploded in popularity because of its strong symbolism and artistic detail, but it also brought a new wave of errors and varieties. The fine lines in the design made it vulnerable to die wear and damage, which resulted in doubled book edges, missing fingers, distorted arms, extra blobs near the hands, and even coins where the book looks completely smooth. And when errors affect focal points like Lincoln's hands or face values, jump hard because eye appeal drives demand, and some of these errors have sold for hundreds of dollars raw, and even more when authenticated and slabbed. And again, the mint differences matter. Philadelphia coins are more available, but clean, sharp strikes are scarce. Denver coins are tougher overall, And San Francisco satin finish examples are premium by default. And if you are wondering why 2009 pennies feel harder to find today, it is because many were hoarded. Early, when people heard rumors that the penny might be discontinued, and hoarding removes coins from circulation permanently, which tightens supply year after year, and that is why prices do not go down, they slowly creep up as demand stays strong. And supply quietly disappears, and the smartest collectors are not waiting, they are checking rolls, boxes, and old collections. Now, before the wider market fully wakes up and realizes how special this year really is, EOM, not joking, and this is not clickbait. This is the real story behind one of the most talked about modern USA coins, the 2009 Lincoln Penny Bicentennial of Lincoln birth. A coin that many people ignore every day, a coin that millions were spent and lost and saved without anyone realizing what was really in their hands. Today, we are going deep into the history, the hype, the hidden value, the rare errors, the collector demand, and the future potential of the 2009 Lincoln 1 cent, a penny that was never meant to be ordinary from the very first moment it left the mint. This video is for serious collectors, beginners, treasure hunters, and anyone who has ever wondered if a simple penny could be worth far more than 1 cent. This is the ultimate long-form deep dive made for true fans of old and modern USA coins, and by the end of this journey, you will never look at a Lincoln penny the same way again. The year 2009 was not just another year in American coinage, it marked 200 years. Since the birth of Abraham Lincoln, one of the most important figures in United States history, and the U.S. Mint decided to do something it had never done before. Replace the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse with 4 different designs, each one telling a chapter of Lincoln life, from his humble beginnings to his rise as a national leader, and these 4 designs are what turned the 2009 Lincoln penny into a modern legend. The first design shows Lincoln childhood in Kentucky, a simple log cabin representing poverty, hard work, and the American dream. The second design shows young Lincoln as a rail splitter in Indiana, symbolizing strength, labor, and self-education. The third design shows professional Lincoln in Illinois, with books and tools representing knowledge, law, and ambition. And the fourth design shows the presidency in Washington, with the unfinished Capitol dome representing a nation divided, yet moving forward. These were not just designs, they were a story told on copper plated zinc, and millions of Americans unknowingly became part of that story when they received these pennies in change. But here is where things get interesting. Very interesting, because while billions of pennies are made, most people assume they are all the same and all worthless. And that assumption is exactly what creates opportunity, because among these 2009 bicentennial pennies are scarce mintages, special satin finish coins, low mintage, circulation issues, and rare mint errors that collectors are actively hunting right now, and some of these are selling for prices that shock even experienced numismatists. The 2009 Lincoln pennies were struck at 3 mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and each mint tells a different value story. The Philadelphia and Denver coins were made for circulation, but production numbers were lower than normal because of reduced demand for pennies during that time, and this alone already makes them more collectible than many modern cents. Then we have the San Francisco Mint, which produced special satin finish pennies for collector sets, and these are not your everyday pocket change coins the satin finish gives the coin a smooth, matte-like appearance with sharp details, and these coins were never meant to circulate, making high-grade examples far more desirable and valuable, especially when kept in original condition. Now let us talk about what really drives people crazy: errors and varieties, because this is where a 1-cent coin can suddenly jump from face value to serious money. We are talking about doubled dies where the design appears doubled, especially on Lincoln face date or lettering off center strikes, where the design is pushed to one side, broad strikes, missing edge. Details, clipped planchettes where part of the coin is missing, and die cracks and cuts that create raised lines or blobs on the coin, and yes, genuine 2009 Lincoln bicentennial error pennies exist, and some have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars depending on the severity and condition, and the most exciting part is that many of these errors are still out there, undiscovered, sitting in jars, drawers, rolls, and collections, waiting for someone with knowledge and patience to find them. Condition also plays a massive role, and this is something new collectors often underestimate. A 2009 Lincoln penny in worn condition. May only be worth 1 cent, but a pristine, uncirculated example, especially graded by a professional service, can be worth many times more. Coins graded Ms. 6.7, Ms. 6.8 and higher are extremely scarce in command. Strong premiums because very few coins survive in that condition after circulation and handling. And when you combine high grade with a popular design and historical significance, you get strong long-term collector demand. And demand is what drives value over time. And this is why serious collectors are quietly building sets of these coins, while the general public still thinks modern pennies are junk. But history shows us again and again that today pocket change becomes tomorrow collectible. Just look at earlier Lincoln cents that were once ignored and now sell for serious money, and the 2009 series has all the ingredients history limited: production, unique designs, collector interest, and era potential. And this is exactly why many experts believe these coins are still undervalued, and that the best time to collect them is before the wider market fully catches on. This video is not about hype, it is about awareness and education, because the people who win in coin collecting are the ones who learn before everyone else and take action while prices are still reasonable. And as we continue deeper in this series, we will break down each design one by one. We will talk exact mintages, key dates, known rare errors, how to spot valuable examples, how to store them properly, and what to watch for in the future. Market this is a marathon, not a sprint, and if you stay till the end, you will have knowledge that most people scrolling past pennies will never have, and that knowledge can turn a simple 1-cent coin into a powerful piece of American history and maybe even a smart collectible investment. Say continue to receive the next part of this full 2-hour script, where we go design by design and uncover the most wanted 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial pennies hiding in plain sight.